I'm so tired. Well, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be talking a little bit quiet right now because everyone in my house is still asleep. But if you've been following me on my Instagram, I have been on a journey to make sourdough bread, and I'm finally doing that today. And since it's a longer process, I'm starting in the morning and just gonna make the bread all throughout the day, so I don't have to worry about doing it overnight or anything like that. I can just do it all in one day. So this morning, I'm just gonna put it all together, hopefully before James wakes up, and then throughout the day, do the whole process. And I wanted to bring you guys along with me and film all of it. This is my first time making sourdough bread, so please don't take this as a tutorial or that I'm an expert, because I definitely am not. But I thought it would be fun to share, and I haven't posted a video in a while and really want to get back into posting on here, so that is what I'm going to do. So hopefully you guys are interested in seeing this. I did a little poll on my Instagram and it was split between this and story, so I'll probably do some like little snippets for my stories and then have the full video on here for you guys to see. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to get started before James wakes up, and then it can be done when I have to do all this stuff with him. And I'm also working today, so I'm just trying to do a little bit of both, multitask. I feel like that's all that you do when you become a mom. So yeah, I'm going to try to drink some coffee while it's still hot, and let's go ahead and get into the video and making some bread. Well, we did not make it very far because he's awake, so I'm gonna go and get him up and fed and changed and all of that good stuff, and then I'm gonna get started. It doesn't take very long, so if it's like give or take an hour from when I start to when I finish, it's really not gonna be that bad. And this recipe makes 2 loaves, so I guess if I mess up one, maybe I have the other one to save me. So yeah, gonna go and take care of him, and then we'll get started. Well, James is awake now, and he's up here with me in his little seat. So if you hear little squeaks and stuff back there, that's what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm using this Bread Baking for Beginners book, and I really need to invest in a kitchen scale, but I'm just gonna do the conversions for all the measurements today. And if something goes wrong, that would just be part of my troubleshooting for later. But I've converted all the measurements, and I'm just gonna go with it from that, because I know that with baking, and especially baking sourdough bread, you're supposed to be very precise. But first time making it, and like anything else that I do, I'm just gonna kind of wing it. So hopefully it turns out good. But I'm gonna get started on the actual process. And yesterday on my Instagram, if you follow me there, if not, I will leave all my social media linked down below. I do with every video. But on my stories yesterday, I did a float test on my sourdough starter. And basically what it is you just take a little bit of the starter out of here and you drop it in water. Oh, you think that's funny? You just take a little bit of starter out of here and drop it in water. And if it floats, it tells you that there's enough air or enough gas in your sourdough starter to be able to make bread and to leaven your bread. So I'm gonna do that again this morning just to double check and make sure. Hang on. So I fed this one last time again last night. I'm gonna have to keep feeding it if I'm gonna wanna keep using the starter, but it looks really bubbly and it looks really good. I don't know if you can see all the little air bubbles in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it just to be safe and make sure that it's ready to go and start making my bread. So I usually just take a little spoon and grab some off the top. And then, boop. So it looks like it's gonna be good. Won't move it too much. You can see that it floats on the top of there. So I think we are good to go. So I do have everything prepped and ready to go. And I'm just gonna mix it all together, and it has to rest for a little bit. So I'm gonna speed up that part because if not, you would just see me putting ingredients into a bowl. But I will add the recipe that I'm using, probably for you guys just to screenshot, and I can put it down below as well. I'm just using it out of this book. This one makes 2 loaves, so you could always cut it in half if you wanted to make 1. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw all this together so I'm not baking this bread at 9 o'clock tonight. This is my little setup right here, and this is my dough, and it said it should be wet but firm, so I have to let it rest for 30 minutes. So I am going to try and go get ready while this rests and lets the water soak up, and then I'm gonna come back and knead it. So now I'm in the part of the process where I have to knead it. I had to let it sit for 15 minutes and absorb the water a little bit. And now I have to knead it for 10 minutes. And after that, I let it rise for 3 hours. And on here it says halfway through rising, you have to give it a few folds. And then after that, I will have to divide it. So I'm gonna go ahead and knead it and then let it sit for a little bit. So I covered it with a floured kitchen towel, and I'm gonna let it rise for 3 hours and check it halfway through. So fingers crossed that it works. So I just put James down for his little afternoon nap, and probably about 10 minutes before my timer went off for me to have to fold my bread. So I had to YouTube this because I had no idea what letter folding meant, because I never have made bread like this before. So basically you have to take it out and like fold it like hot dog style. I don't know if you ever did that with paper in school, like hot dog or hamburger style. So we have to fold it like over itself and then back over it again, like front to back. I'll try to explain it or show it when I film it, but I have to do that and then let it sit for another hour and a half because it has to rise for a total of 3 hours, and then I have to separate it. So I'm gonna try to do that now. So I have my little bowl. Hold on, I'll show you the actual dough. And it has rose a little bit. It's filled up more of the bowl. So now I have to do some letter folds. I don't know if I should take it out or just do it in here, but that's what we're looking like so far. So in the video it showed just to fold it like half over this way and then half this way, like a letter, like over. Put my little towel back over the top, and then I'm gonna put it back over there on the counter and let it rise a little bit more. Another thing that I don't have is a proofing basket, or a banneton, I think is what it says that it's called. So I'm just using a wicker basket, and I'm gonna put a flour sack towel in here. The most important thing is that the dough gets air to it. So I think this will be fine. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the second loaf. I'll probably just leave it in the glass bowl because that is all that I have. We're just working with what we got today because obviously I've never done this. I've never made bread before, so we're just kind of winging it. But if it doesn't turn out, it's the first one I've made. I can always try again. I have more starter, I have more flour. So I am just taking it one step at a time and just fingers crossed that it's gonna turn out and that it tastes good. I don't even know. It's done rising, and now I have to divide it into 2 pieces. And it doesn't specify if I need to divide it on the counter or in the bowl. So I think I'm just gonna make a line down the middle in the bowl and divide it, and then move on to the next step. After I do this, it has to rest again for 30 minutes. And then I have to shape it again, and it has to proof for an hour to 2 hours. And this is the final rise before it goes into the oven. And then I get to bake it. So we're on the home stretch. So these have both rested for 30 minutes on the counter, and now I have to shape them and then put them in the proofing basket. Like I said earlier, I'm just using a wicker basket with a flour sack towel over the top of it. And the second loaf I'm gonna put just in a glass bowl and let it rise in there since I don't have 2. But we are almost done. I just have to let these proof for another hour or 2. My kitchen's not very warm, so it might be closer to 2 hours. I'm just really hoping that this works and that it's good, because I have been working on this bread since 6:30 this morning, and I really hope it's worth it. My hair just gets crazier and crazier as the day goes on, but that's just my life now. But I am getting ready to put my Dutch oven into the oven to heat up, to get hot, and let these sit for an hour. And then I should be able to bake it if they are proofed well enough. Fingers crossed that they are. I know I've said fingers crossed like 50 times in this video, but that's all I got today. So this is what we're looking like. My 2 little bread babies. We're starting to feel a little more marshmallowy. This one is doing a lot better than this one. And I think they're about ready to bake. My Dutch oven is in here heating up. I don't know what that little brown stuff on it is. I think it might have just been grease on there, but I'm super excited. I gotta let them proof a little bit more to get to the right texture, but we are almost there. So if you hear any little squeaks or any little coos or hiccups, James is joining me again for this portion of the video, but I think we are ready to bake it. So I have to get the Dutch oven out of the oven and put my loaf in it. But I'm gonna show you. Try not to get flour everywhere. But this is what it looks like. You have to put the seam side up. And you want it to be like a marshmallow and not super firm and springy. And this one is getting there. It's still a little springy, but I think this is probably as close as we're gonna get. But I have my other one. I'll show you that one too. This one's in the glass bowl, but it is starting to get to the good texture as well. You do it like this so you can flop it upside down with the pretty side up into your Dutch oven, and then you have to cut the top with a razor blade. I'm not gonna try to do any fancy designs this time because it's my first time, so I'm just gonna do the plain X, but super excited. And I'm sure everybody else is too, especially the people who have really been anticipating me baking this bread. So hopefully, this is it. I had to go pick up James because he was getting a little fussy on the floor, but it is in the oven. It has to bake for 25 minutes, and then I have to uncover it and let it bake for another 15 or 20 minutes so it can get nice and crusty and golden brown. So we are almost there. I'm hoping it turns out. I'm glad that I have 2 loaves just in case something happens to one of them. I have a backup. It didn't rise very much, so maybe I didn't proof this one enough, but I still have another loaf, so we'll see. So the moment you've all been waiting for, the first loaf is done, but I don't know if it's right because it didn't rise very much and get really aerated and fluffy, so I don't know. I'll go ahead and show it to you. I have the other one baking in there. Maybe since it proofed a little bit longer, it might be better, so we will see. If it doesn't turn out, it's not a big deal. I can always remake it. Even though it took me all day, I will be a little sad, but yeah. So hopefully the next one turns out good. I will try to update the progress on that one. It's got 5 minutes left of cooking, and then I have to uncover it, do the same process, let it brown, all of that. So fingers crossed. Again, I know I've said that a million times in this video, but it's all I'm riding on today. Well, the second loaf is doing the same thing, so I guess it's all gonna come down to the taste test and seeing what it actually looks like. It might have been my starter, I might not have used enough, or it might just not have been where it needed to be. Or throughout the rising process, my water could have not been warm enough, my house could have not been warm enough for it to rise. So it's really just a lot of troubleshooting, especially with bread. So I'm a little sad because it took me all day. Not that it's ruined or anything. I'm really proud of myself that I made it. Happy that I went through with it because I honestly enjoyed it. So we will see. I'll show you guys like the cut, and I'll do a little taste test with Kyle when he gets home, and see what he thinks about it, see what we both think about it. But thank you guys for following along with this whole process. I know it's been a long time coming, and I've hyped it up on my Instagram, and now for it not to work, it is a little disappointing, but I can always try again. Okay, so we're gonna try it. She's not cute. I gotta get a knife. I can't even cut it.
Just a good hard crust.
Hold on, look at the plate.
Get the cutting board out.
Yeah.
Do you want to cut it like completely in half?
Yeah. So you can see if it's got air bubbles. That sounds terrible. This is not gonna be good. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh. Did you make it?
I'm like cutting the cutting board.
Oh no. Oh no. Show them.
It's pretty dense and pretty doughy still. Oh, there's a Maverick here on it already.
Oh, lovely. I don't even know if we can eat it.
I'm not. It's spongy.
It smells like pizza dough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's like undercooked breadstick. That's what it tastes like to me.
The crust is good.
Yeah. Like when you get a really doughy breadstick.
I like the crust.
In the middle, not so much.
It's just really heavy.
Yeah. I don't know what to do next time. What I think is that our kitchen was too cold. Because
How do you fix that? Besides crank up the thermostat.
either the kitchen was too cold, my starter wasn't good enough, or I don't know, like the water that you use has to be a certain temperature. It could have been a lot of different things. So
The bottom piece right there.
huh? Yeah,
Good.
I'm definitely gonna do it again, but I'm very sad that it did not work out. The other one looks just the same.
No.
Just a big old.
I think they just weren't cooked long enough. And then again, the bottoms are a bit better through there.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like really fluffy and really holy. Oh no. Okay, well.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, there's a big old hole in
It's
it.
hollow.
Well, hopefully this doesn't make us sick. No. Sorry this video was a flop, but we tried it. I gave the people what they wanted.
Part 2 coming soon.
I gave the people what they wanted, and I made the sourdough bread. So I'm gonna try it again. Hopefully the next time turns out better because
You still have your starter.
I spent all dang day working on this bread. 6:30 in the morning till what? 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, 5:30.
And then it's like 9:15 right now, and we're just now eating it. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video right here. If you wanna follow along with my sourdough starter, I post about it on my story on my Instagram pretty much every night. So you can find me there, all of my other grandma things that I like to post. I will leave all of that linked down below, and I will leave the recipe for this linked down below if you want to try it, if you are better at making sourdough than me. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.